Good morning, Year 8. This is Miss Nixon here, and today we are looking at drugs. So this is lesson 6 of our health and lifestyle topic. So in your books, first of all, I want you to write the title drugs, the date, and you are going to name as many drugs as you possibly can. And you have 2 minutes to do that. So time yourself. They can be drugs that you might find at home in your cupboards, or they could be drugs that you might find on the streets. You have 2 minutes, off you go. So no doubt you've come up with quite a list of drugs now. That could be things like paracetamol or antibiotics. It could be street drugs, things like marijuana, cannabis, cocaine. What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to come up with a definition for a drug. So what do we know already? What makes a drug and why is it named a drug? Make a definition, just a small, short bullet point or sentence in your books now, and then we will add to that. So, you've probably got something similar to this. A drug is any substance that when taken into the body changes the way it functions. So basically anything that alters the way we think or act is classed as a drug. So can you now add to your definition with the information on your screen now? Pause the video. So as you can see, there are 2 types of drugs. We have our medicinal drugs, which are things that you can buy from a chemist or pharmacy or something you've got from your doctor. That could be a contraceptive pill. It could be antibacterial drugs or antiviral drugs. It could be something as simple as paracetamol or ibuprofen. Then we've also got what we call our recreational drugs. So these are our street drugs. So these are our drugs that we take not for medical reasons, but these are what we take for enjoyment or pleasure, things like that. These will include things like marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, MDMA, and even heroin. So they are our recreational drugs. So what I want you to do now, I want you to write down those 2 words, medicinal and recreational, and then write a definition for each type of drug and give an example for both. So there are a number of side effects associated with drugs. Obviously, we all know that drugs are addictive. So they are a drug, a chemical that makes you want to keep taking more and more of it just to feel normal. And this could include something as simple as cigarettes. Then you also have withdrawal. You've probably known people that have smoked or given up smoking that have suffered from this. This is where they will get unpleasant symptoms due to the lack of taking that drug. That could even be people that have stopped drinking tea or coffee. So other symptoms are short-term, some are long-term. You've got a whole list of side effects here from taking drugs, even as dangerous as liver damage, which could be from alcohol, or heart disease. What I would like you to do now, I would like you to write down these keywords, addiction and withdrawal, with a very simple bullet point of their meaning next to them, and then write down a few, as many as you like, at least 3 of the side effects associated with taking drugs. Okay, so we have classifications of some words associated with drugs. So one is depressant, one is a stimulant, and one is a hallucinogen. See if you can guess which one of these special words goes with which definition. I don't mind if you just label the depressant, stimulant and hallucinogen as A, B and C, and then on your right hand side you can label them as 1, 2 and 3 and then match them up. So you might put depressant box A with box number 2 on your right hand side, or you may put box number A depressant with box number 1 on the right hand side. Do this in your book and let's see if you got them right. Pause the video. So here we have a list of drugs from cannabis all the way down to methadone. And I want you to have a little chat with your family or do it yourself or chat with your friends over the internet of which ones you think are a depressant, which ones you think are a stimulant, and which ones you think are a hallucinogen. You've got things on here that you would already know: caffeine in coffee, you've got nicotine there in cigarettes, alcohol we will talk about in other lessons. So have a guess now, and then on the next slide you will see whether you've got them correct. How many did you get right? Did you know, for example, that cannabis and alcohol are actually a depressant, so they actually slow your body down? Things like caffeine in your coffee is a stimulant. That's why people have a coffee in the morning, to wake them up. What they are doing is actually taking a drug, although be it a very normalized drug and with very few derogatory side effects. So well done if you got 4 or more correct. So as you all know, street drugs or recreational drugs are illegal in this country. So there are punishments if you are caught taking or using drugs or selling drugs. So we're going to have a quick look at some of these. So here we've got drugs into 3 classes, A, B and C. A being the more dangerous drugs which the police take more seriously than Class C drugs. Class C drugs, if you're caught with them or taking them, could be up to 2 years in prison, whereas Class A drugs, things like crack cocaine, could be up to 7 years in prison, an unlimited fine, or both. Obviously, if you are caught selling these type of drugs, so if you go to the last column on the right hand side, that will be considered much more criminal and could be life in prison or up to 14 years in prison, depending on what class drug it is. So in your books, I want you to label 1 to 5 in your column, and we're going to now look at the misuse of drugs. So if you give this a little side heading, misuse of drugs, then put down 1 to 5 in your margin, and I want you to list 5 reasons why people might take drugs or misuse drugs. So here we have the many reasons why people misuse drugs. So you've probably got some of these on your list. It might be peer pressure, because you're a teenager, you're trying things. People might be stressed. They might be going to a party or celebrating at a festival. It might be because they want to feel popular or just pure curiosity. So there's many reasons why people take drugs. Obviously, on the darker side, it could be things like depression, withdrawal, addiction. These are all the reasons people would continue to take drugs. So add to your list if you haven't got 5 already. So here, unfortunately, we have some pictures of the effects of misuse of drugs, and obviously, sadly, people do overdose and do die from taking drugs, accidentally or on purpose. You have on the right hand side someone with a drug addiction who in only 4 years turned from the person on the left hand side to the person on the right hand side. Obviously you can see for yourselves the massive impact that drugs have had on this lady's life. Very sad. I would now like you to have a go at these questions. There are 7 marks available. That should take no more than 7 minutes to answer these questions. I want you to do this in your books, and then we will check your answers. Here are the answers to the questions on the previous slide. So I want you to check your own work, check your understanding, and give yourself a score. If you got 6 or more, then fantastic, very well done. If you got under 5, I want you to quickly go back over this video and just check you understand where you went wrong. So we've now come to the end of our drugs lesson. So what I would like you to do, I would like you now to go to Doddle and complete the quiz named lesson number 6. So then we can see that you are taking part in all the science lessons. Thank you. Have a lovely day and afternoon, and I will see you tomorrow, or even speak to you tomorrow. Sadly, can't see you. Bye.